very good. So then I do want to pivot on some of the legislative success this session. You are a chief sponsor of a bill on the legalization of delivery of alcohol in the state of Illinois. I guess where did that issue come from? Why did you decide to file the bill? Talk about all that.
Yeah, I find myself doing these technology bills, dealing with modern technology. There's a desire to have modern alcohol delivery, and this bill simply modernized it. It passed with bipartisan majorities, and it's going to probably get signed by the governor. We also have a lot of unfinished business. The governor asked for a tax change that would raise hold the state's budget harmless by $1 million. We have to deal with cocktails to go. We have small business relief to deal with. So there's a lot left to do in the upcoming 2021 session. But Senate Bill 54, which is this alcohol delivery bill, was a really nice bill to get done.
Right, and so I guess the benefit to that would be more economic possibilities in an oppressed economy, basically getting rid of more regulations and having businesses now being able to deliver their product without any governmental regulations.
That's 100% true.
So another action that I think occurred when you guys were up late was a passage of a bill legislation that got more traction when it comes to headlines here. The police reform bill that passed in the wee hours of the morning, right? Originally came out of the Black Caucus. I think there were a lot of negotiations on the bill, and there were a lot of changes too, because I think one of the main pieces of opposition there was when it relates to body cameras.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the original bill basically said that you're putting it on the municipalities to install body cameras by, for the most part, 2025. If any municipality didn't comply with that, then essentially there'd be a financial penalty for the municipality and a reduction in their local state support on their share of income taxes, I think. So talk about how that bill emerged, some of the talks there, how you went from a bill that was that had to be negotiated to the final product, and where do you see the legislation being tweaked in the next session coming up? Because right now there's still a lot of people who will say, hey, I support body cameras, but this has to be worked, right? So I'm sure you're hearing a lot of that down in Springfield.
I'm hearing more of it up here. I went to Springfield fully committed to not voting for that bill. It as it was introduced, it was a lot of. It was going to be hard to vote for. However, during the course of negotiations, the sponsor Justin Slaughter made a series of changes to the bill, and specifically he made one change that is the reason I voted for the bill.
And what was the part that you had the biggest opposition to?
So what at one point Justin Slaughter came to me and said, if I take this qualified immunity piece out of the bill, would you vote for it? And
to our viewers, can you kind of explain?
Qualified immunity, basically, under state law, police officers have qualified immunity. They can only be sued if their activity goes beyond the scope of negligence. It has to be egregious. I think the characterization is willful and wanton. That standard was about to be removed, which would have increased lawsuits on officers. At a point certain, the sponsor of the bill came to me and said, I need your vote on this. I said, well, there's problems with the bill. If you take those pieces out that are most problematic, I'll vote for the bill. And to his credit, Representative Slaughter did. I then felt like a deal's a deal, and I voted for the bill. There's a lot about that bill that's misunderstood. It's been characterized as defunding the police. I don't believe in defunding the police. This bill does not defund the police. There's my two things that I think hopeful Justin reevaluates are the anonymous complaints on police officers. I understand why that had to be in the bill, but there probably should be some tweaking there. The police registration bill aspect of it. And I also think the body camera piece has to be probably reviewed a little bit.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that too. So as I was kind of looking at it, a lot of the opposition was because of that penalty, and obviously now that because the penalty is removed, there's still so going back, if you're a if I understand it right, if you're a municipality under 100K in population, you have until 2025, right, to basically make every officer install a body camera, right?
Yeah, right.
If you're above that, then you have, I think, 2023, right? So I think Joliet, City of Chicago, Naperville, bigger municipalities, it's a more narrow time frame, if I'm understanding that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess when you're looking at it, a lot of people are kind of arguing how the costs that are associated with it, and because the penalty is removed. Essentially, if municipalities don't comply with it,
nothing happens.
Nothing happens. But they did tie it back to, I think, a grant program, right?
Yeah.
So
the body camera grant relief fund or something to pay for them.
Yeah. So I'm not that familiar on it. Is it more where if a municipality is applying for a grant and they're trying to make the checklists on the criteria to? Yeah. Is it essentially, that's a bonus that you have your body cameras installed?
Right, you purchased them, you got them, you got the protocols in place. But, I actually, you said something that at the beginning of the question that I think, the body camera piece, it was certainly difficult, but I think people just generally felt like this was an attack on police officers. I generally think that. They didn't like process. The process was we were having subject matter hearings on Zoom, and they didn't feel like their input was being appreciated. I think police officers rightly feel like the actions of a few are being used to hold many to account. Mm-hmm. This is a gut-wrenching issue.
How's the General Assembly going to address those concerns when it comes to cost? Are they because revenue right now, you said, is pretty. There's not a lot of it to go around to be funding these programs. We want to make it work. I think the vast majority of people want to make the police reform body camera stuff work. But how is that something that you see moving out of this session, that you're going to look at the tweaks in and trying to find the funding for that to help maybe the smaller municipalities like Riverside or
Yeah, and I have no doubt that we're going to have to help cities and towns pay for body cameras. There's no doubt about it in my mind about that. And yeah, that's a tweak that we're going to have to work through. Again, we're going to have to go back on the licensure piece. I think we're going to have to go back on anonymous complaints. And I'm not saying wholesale changes to the bill. I just think that people are going to want to revisit those topics for discussion.
Besides tweaking and reforming the police reform bill, what else do you expect moving in this session, 2021? Do you expect it will happen?
Yeah, I'm excited about any number of things. We're going to focus mostly this year on energy. Energy is going to be, I think, a big piece of the 2021 legislative agenda. Okay. I think that you're going to see more electric vehicle legislation. Mm-hmm. I think you'll see more incentivizing solar. Which is great. I think in my mind, cannabis is going to be front and center in 2021 again. Sure, everyone's excited that we did it. I think you're going to see the governor have to put a budget together under extenuating circumstances, and that's going to be a very difficult challenge.
That's a good point. Yeah. Going off of that, we got a new presidential administration, so. Is there optimism maybe that when that stimulus bill cranks out from the Biden administration, which it's probably going to be a matter of time, is there any expectation there on federal relief for states?
I continue to think that it makes no sense to do stimulus and not consider the effect that this has had on state budgets. Mm-hmm. But it seems to me that every time that's brought up, it somehow ends up on the cutting room floor, which leads me to believe I shouldn't count the money coming from the feds for the state coffers yet.
Where would the money go essentially?
I think we would set up sort of special depository accounts and then legislate how the money should be allocated. Mm-hmm. Education K through 12, getting schools COVID proof. Mm-hmm. Higher ed suffered. I also think we would need to help communities get through. Basically, we'd have to prime the pump locally to get the economy going again. So there's any number of ways we could spend that kind of money, and trust me, my colleagues and I will find a way to do that.
Anything else you want to tell our viewers? Something maybe that you're working on for the district for your constituents?
Man, I really in 2021 want to be more. I think we're gonna have some town halls. I think we're gonna, as people can congregate more, we're gonna find ourselves to be more accessible. I also am interested in, underbanking as an issue. I think cryptocurrency and underbanking. I'm excited to work with Representative Margaret Croak on that issue.
Who's newly elected?
Newly elected, yeah. She comes from DECO and has a very keen interest in some of the things that I have as well. So look for that pretty soon, and looking for people to get vaccinations. We need to get everyone vaccinated so we can get our lives back.
So once again, I want to thank everyone watching. Thank you again, Representative Zalewski, for your time. Please check out the website. Keep an eye out on any updated videos. I think the goal here is trying to get more people involved and share their experiences down in Springfield, as well as local public managers. So once again, thanks, Mike, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.